Hi guys, Pardo and Julian here from SM Bar Reports, bringing you our first Codex review. So thank you to Games Workshop. We have the awesome new Codex Orks. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay guys, so here we go. We're going to go straight through into the book now. We're going to talk about the army wide rules. We're going to talk about the cultures from each of the different armies we have, and then we're going to go quickly throughout the units itself. So we're going to start off with the army wide rules. So Julian, if you want to go talk about a bit about
the best one, in my opinion, already,
yeah.
which one some people are already talking about, is Daka. So for Daka, right? Each time you roll an unmodified hit roll of 6 for an attack with a ranged weapon made by a model in this unit, that hit roll succeeds regardless of any modifiers. In addition, immediately make an additional hit roll against the same target using the same weapon.
So this is actually amazing. Okay, orcs can't shoot, but when you have a lot of orc shooting, so we just did a battle report now, and we had big units of bikes, this is actually really impressive.
Oh yeah.
If your rolls start going really well, you have a lot of extra shots.
I mean, it also works in the Overwatch as well, so you're finding extra shots in the Overwatch. Practically from little bit I've looked through the book, everything has Daka, and maybe there's something that doesn't, I haven't spotted it, but you're talking about, rocket launchers, you're talking about zap guns, every big weapon as well, being able to hit multiple times. It's pretty disgusting.
It is.
No more Adari, Elatok -1, all that. Regardless, hits, hit on the 6. So
yeah.
After that, we've got Here We Go, which is pretty much the same as the index. Reroll charge rolls for the units. Reroll either of the dice.
Remember that's changed. So Here We Go was you could roll charges. Now you can actually roll either of the dice.
Well, yeah.
So if you roll a 6 and a 1 and you need an 8, instead of using one command point and using the command point to roll one of the dice, because that's what you actually want, you can now choose to roll one of the extra dice, which is really good as well. So yeah.
Again, army wide, pretty much all the good units have it. Mob rule as well. Same thing.
That stayed the same.
That stayed the same with the leadership's basically based on your model count. So failing morale is not likely until the unit's practically almost wiped out anyway. And speed mob, which only basically regards to all the buggies and stuff like that, which is like the squadron rules.
So they have a new keyword called speed freaks, and that applies to them, I think it is.
Well, all the buggies have speed mob rule.
Speed mob, yeah.
Which is like the squadron rule. So you set them up together within 6 inches, but then they all act independently. As opposed to having that rule written in their data sheet.
Yeah. Okay, so nice. And that's the rules itself from army-wide rules. So we're going to go and check out the Clan Kulturs, spelled with a K, which is cool.
All the spellings, all stars, brilliant. That's great.
So there's some really nice cultures here. There's some really interesting ones. Some are obviously better than others. It all depends on your playing style.
Absolutely.
So going back to what orcs were in Index, we saw a lot of big mob army lists. Orcs actually won the last Warhammer World Grand Tournament with a really massive army of the problem was that it was quite slow to play. So moving like 120 orcs or more was a big problem when there was a time factor. So I think we'll see a bit more of different units. I think the Speed Freaks army wide is really good, but we'll get into that now. So let's get back to the cultures first.
It definitely opens up a lot more to the Codex as opposed to just spamming boys effectively. Although the first one, Goths, works pretty well with spamming a lot of boys, which is pretty much like Daka, but for combat as well.
Yeah.
So when you're talking, a blob of 30 boys, each of them with 3 attacks, basically 2 base plus a slugger. If you go with the slugger as opposed to shooters,
that can go up with some characters and stuff.
Yeah, you've got
that's the basic 3
spells
attacks.
that +1. You've got stratagems.
Stratagems, I think.
Mistaken. So you're talking five attacks a model.
Yeah.
Five attacks, 30 models, which basically explode on 6s for extra attacks. Hitting on 3 is
scary. That can mow down basically any units.
And that's just your standard troop choice option there. So they're pretty good, to say the least. Bad Moons, that's my favourite. Was my favourite culture, as in Clan of the Orks. But well, it's good. It's good in its own way. It's reroll hit rolls of 1 made by models with this culture in the shooting phase. So obviously, the playstyle for that kind of culture is a lot of shooting. You're gonna want your looters. You're gonna want your shooty boys with that.
Yeah.
Your flash gets all that.
And that's for every model, isn't it?
And that's for every model.
Everything, which is really good because it's actually a stratagem which gives Daka. On 5s and 6s. So when you're a bad moon, you're also re-rolling 1s to that. So that can be pretty lethal, actually.
And when you're re-rolling 1s, hitting on 5s, it works out more or less about 4, like a 4+.
Yeah.
So that's a lot more extra shots in there. Evil Sons.
So that's actually what we've just tried. Our first battle report was with the Evil Sons list. And we have a lot of bikes at the studio. We have the new buggies as well from the Speed Freaks box. So I think it was perfectly, the best one to take with them.
Yeah.
And again, a really, really, really good culture.
This is the one I think we're going to see most of in the tournament scene at the moment, just from my initial look. Because you're adding 1 to the move characteristics of all models with this. If it's Speed Freaks, you're adding 2 to the movements.
Yeah, so that's the new keyword which everybody's talking about. You must have heard it before.
Yeah.
So everything that's basically fast, like bikes, the new buggies, all have this Speed Freaks keyword.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you also add 1 to advance and charge rolls. And if that wasn't enough, you don't suffer the penalty for advancing and firing assault weapons.
Which is crazy.
Which is insane for bikes.
These guys here in the bikes have 6 shots each. They're moving now a total of
16,
14 plus the 2. So they're now Elder Jet bikes.
Well, and 16 without the advance.
Without the advance, yeah, sorry. And they are ignoring the modifier for the advance. So instead of hitting on 6s, which they would normally be hitting after advancing, they're still hitting on 5s.
You got 16, an extra 7-inch possibility. So you got a 23-inch
It's crazy.
move.
And that's before assaulting.
Before, well, yeah.
So
if you don't advance.
If you don't advance, but yeah. So you can have stuff charging first turn. With them.
Evil Sons is going to have a lot of turn 1 charges, a lot of everything in your grill, like straight away. It's going to be pretty savage.
Combine that with some of the new rules for the new buggies, which we'll go into later on. Some of them will be, there's a couple of them that do mortal wounds when they assault and stuff. So
yeah,
it's tough. It's going to be a tough list to take down.
Next one will be Death Skulls. Everyone gets a 6-up inval for this, which is alright. Saves you here and there.
Yeah.
You also pretty much get like the Salamander rule, so you get to re-roll single hit roll, wound roll, and damage roll for every unit. So it's okay. Yeah. It's alright.
But they do get a lot for what it is, as well as the.
But I think this is the key one where the infantry, you all get that this is our Zog off ability, which is effectively objective secured. So every infantry model gets objective secured.
That's big. When we're playing, I've just come back from a big tournament where there's 6 objectives constantly on the map, on the deployment. When you have a big army that floods the table and everything has objective secured, it's game changing.
Yeah,
it's game changing. So
definitely.
That's a very, very good one. I think it's actually one of the best. I think people are saying there's others, but having a free reroll to hit and to wound in any phase, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And having this objective secured throughout, when the Codex actually has very, very good backline units where they're going to stay back and fire, and your advancing units, you're flooding the table again with objective secured units.
And your basic troops
it's big. Yeah.
Are dirt cheap anyway,
exactly.
so you can just carpet the whole table.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they'll be getting obsec anyway, but still, all your special units, your tank busters, your looters, your burner boys,
exactly.
all that stuff.
When you're playing Maelstrom, and you're getting all these defend and grab objectives, it's
It is good. It is good. This one, unfortunately for me, doesn't quite cut it.
Yeah.
Which is snake bites. Basically, you have a 6-up Philo Pain on everything. So yeah, it's good.
It's everything again. It's not.
It's
not like Marines, poor Marines that only have it on dreadnoughts and infantry.
So it's still good. Don't get me wrong. It's by no means rubbish at all. I mean, I use U3 with my Elder, and I've the amount of times that saved me.
Yeah.
It's just in comparison with some of the others ones.
Yeah, it gives a bit of more of a lifeline to when you have a lot of boys running forward and stuff. So.
Yeah. Then we've got Blood Axes. Now this one is a bit weird. I don't know really how to read this.
Yeah.
I'll read it out for you. It says, a unit with this culture gains the benefits of cover even while they are not entirely on or in a terrain feature. If the enemy model is making an attack is at least 18 inches away. So, what I don't get is even while they are not entirely on or in a terrain feature. So, I suppose the thing I wasn't sure about is whether one model had to be in terrain for them to get this ability, or if it's implying that you can just be in the open.
Yeah, it's worded a bit difficult. We'll actually have they normally do an FAQ or a RATA 2 weeks after the Codex comes out, so hopefully
I think it's pretty much when they're just in the open, but again it's only from attacks from 18 inches away though, which is a bit odd.
Yeah, for Orks when you're like actually moving forward towards the enemy on many occasions, so and 18 inches is quite a lot as well. So,
yeah. Well, I would have thought it would be the other way around. Like if you're over 18, then you'll get the cover. So it's a bit odd, that one.
Odd one. Different.
But in addition, units with this culture can shoot or charge, but not both, even if they fell back in the same turn. Which is very good.
Yeah.
Because that all of a sudden means kind of like Kraken, where you throw your bikes in, for instance, turn 1, get assault in, kill a few guys. Your next turn, you just jump out, go into the back lines.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's very good. It's very good.
And then the last one.
Freebooters.
Yeah.
Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by models with this culture if any other friendly unit with this culture within 24 inches has destroyed an enemy unit this phase. So again, if played right, this can be damn good.
Yeah.
Your boys are now all of a sudden shooting on 4s. Your close combat attacks hitting on 2s. Like for your basic boy. For your basic boy
with a basic 3 attack profile, going up and up.
So it's all about the synergy with that one. You've got to get your units in the right place. You've got to target the right enemy with your long range firepower. Really, to be honest, I mean you can do it in close combat as well. It still works then. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's still early on, so we personally haven't still play tested a lot of it, and we've just had 2 games in. But we will slowly see where the good stuff is and what actually works with what.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go now into the warlord traits.
Right. So this one's pretty decent actually. The standard warlord traits called Follow Me Lads. Your warlord gains the Waaagh and Breaking Heads ability. If your warlord already has the Waaagh and Breaking Heads ability, the range of the ability is increased by 3 inches. In addition, if your army is battle forged, you receive an additional command point. So that's pretty decent, to be honest.
It's a good one.
Then where we're going?
Yeah, that one. So
yeah, Big Killer Boss. Add one to wound rolls for your warlord's attacks that target vehicles and monsters. Okay.
All depends what type of army you take.
Yeah.
And like all codexes, so there's 6 normal warlord traits, which we won't go over all of them, but we'll pick a couple, and we'll actually talk about one of them now as we go further along. But they also have the clan warlord traits, going into the Evil Sons one, which we've just used, which is a really, really good one. So if your warlord and friendly Evil Sun units within 6 inches of him can charge even if they fell back earlier in the turn. So this is really, really good, because when you have a unit that with a big movement on them and they're falling back like bikes, moving back a total of 14 inches and can charge something else, that's a big movement from them after charging another unit.
You've effectively become blood axes for. You've got evil sons and the blood axes ability.
Exactly, just because
for
of
your warlord
just with the warlord
traits.
traits. Yeah. And now going back, so this is something really, really weird.
This is a bit odd. So the Goths one, right? Goths one is add 1 to your warlord's attacks characteristics, which is it's good. It's decent for you've got a good kit out warlord. However, in the standard ones, you've got one of the traits called Might is Right, which is add 1 to your warlord's strength and attack characteristics. So
why would you go for the Goths one when you can, even if you're playing Goths, can still go for Might is Right?
Might is Right, where you've got an extra attack
I don't
and
know if,
an extra
I don't know
strength.
if we're missing something or
I don't see it.
or if it's a mistake, but we'll actually get to see if it is or not in the next errata. But it looks like it's just one attack when you can go for another one, which gives you +1 attack and so much strength.
I reckon. I mean, I could be very wrong here, but I reckon they'll remove the extra attack for the Might is Right and just
give you
add
a
one
+1 strength.
Because you got another one here, which is add 1 to your toughness characteristics. So
So it could be a mistake. Maybe we're wrong, but it's a bit odd.
yeah, you've got your standard CP farming. Well, that's been nerfed a lot with the big FAQ.
Yeah. For the good of the game.
Which that's for the blood axes.
Yeah, for the good of the game.
Absolutely.
Certainly.
And other than that, like nothing seems to stand out exceptionally.
No. Yeah, we can move on to the units, and we'll give you a quick glimpse of some of the units that have popped out to us and changes. We can early on say that boys, for example, have gone on in points for 1 point.
Yeah.
But when you have a squad of 30, that's 30 points extra per unit. So, okay, it's not a massive increase, but it's still a point increase in each. And when you're taking big blobs of 30 and you're taking 3 squads of 30, that's an extra 90 points. So,
however, for all the benefits you're going to be getting, with the Daka rule alone, I'll happily pay the extra points.
Yeah.
All your cultures, if you go Goths, you got Daka effectively in close combat.
Yeah. So HQs as always, we've got some of the. We start off with Gazgul.
Yeah, Gazgul, absolute
He's a beast. He still gives everybody, all the infantry around him, a +1 attack. And same as normal, he's got the bosses watching all friendly orc units. That fails a morale test while is within 6 inches of Gazgul. Can restore order with a brutal display of violence. If he does so, the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. But the morale test is as considered to have been passed. So
it's like the old
yes,
the old 5th, 6th, 7th edition rule where you could just kill off models to also pass your morale.
Yeah, custom claw stays the same, so ×2 strength.
Yeah, you're still
strength 12.
You're still a beast.
-3, yeah.
Toughness 6, 8 wounds, 2 up save, 4 up invul.
Yeah,
like it's
no new model, which I'm a bit sad about, but
unfortunate. Yeah,
well, he's cool. We've got the normal war bosses.
Standard war boss. You got your big mech shock attack gun.
No war boss on bike actually. So this is something we're seeing along the newer codexes. So Games Workshop are only releasing units which there's models for. So there's nothing stopping you from using the index. So in the index there is the war box on bike.
Yeah.
But there's the new Death Killer War Trike, I think it's called. Which is for a couple of points extra, it's much better anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you would actually take a war boss on bike when you have the Death Killer War Trike, which is the new really cool trike bike with a big war boss, and there's a guy in the back, I think, shooting or something like that.
A couple of squigs and all that on it.
So yeah, we can go into him now. He's actually here.
He's a proper beast though.
So he's got some cool rules. So anybody within 6 inches actually rerolls charges, doesn't he? Yeah. Any model within that start the charge phase within 6 inches from this model can reroll
or can charge
even if they're advanced, which is even I think it's actually even better than this.
It's just crazy because you've got this model, right? He moves 14 inches as well, right? You go evil sons. You got potential again to move up to 23 inches. You got surrounded with a whole bunch of bikes. All of a sudden, you got a 23-inch move. You're playing Dawn of War, you're an inch away already.
Yeah.
If they've deployed up to the front, obviously. But you're an inch away for a vast majority of your army just to do a turn 1 charge. And then in combat himself is pretty beasty. He's got 5 attacks there. Snagger Claw, which is +2 to strength, makes him strength 7, -2 d3 damage. Reroll wound rolls with him, hitting on 2s. So he's gonna.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of this in some of the weapons. So if the target, so the twin boomstick, 12-inch assault 2 strength 5. If the target is within range, if half range, add 1 to hit rolls for this weapon. We're seeing a lot of add 1 to hit rolls or making it a better ballistic skill or hitting on 3s. We're seeing some of these newer units have actual shooting or actual weapons that shoot better at a better ballistic skill than others.
It's like the grot side of it. So you've got
grot riders on the back which are shooting better.
You're hitting on 5s mostly, and then some of these things, 3 pluses you're hitting on some of them.
Yeah. So again, we've got the weird boy, we've got the special characters.
Yeah.
We've talked about the boy, so it stays the same, just an extra point on them. Can still go up to 30 if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, up to 30.
So
Gretchen again.
We've got Captain Badrock, which is a really, really good character actually if you're going with flash kits. Reroll hit rolls of 1 in the shooting phase for friendly flash kit units while they are within 6 inches of Captain Badrock. So it's quite cool.
Flash kits themselves.
Okay, yeah, let's go into flash kits. So we've really liked them. Some people are complaining. I've seen some people complaining that they're still hitting on 4s. Their still range isn't that good, but they can pack a punch actually. So
yeah, they've gone up from damage 1 to damage 2.
there you go.
There we are. So yeah, the snaz gun is
so still range 24.
Yeah, heavy 3,
which is a slight problem I think. Instead of assault, I would have liked them to have assault 3.
Yeah,
because range 24, okay, it's a good range, but it's not good enough to be static most of the game. So you are going to move, and you're hitting on 4s, which makes them back into normal orcs,
back into 5s. But there is a way around this.
Yeah.
If you put them in a battle wagon,
open top
battle wagon is the open top battle wagon has a rule that basically the troops or the units inside don't suffer any of the penalties
modifiers
for shooting, just like the battle wagon doesn't. So all of a sudden now, you've got blob of guys in there. They're still hitting
10 guys or more. I think it's.
But the only unfortunate thing for me is that you can't make them bad moons to reroll 1s because they're already freebooters.
Yeah.
However, even though they're freebooters, they have a unique rule that they can still be added to any other culture,
which is cool.
They obviously don't get the benefit of that culture,
but they can still be played in the same detachment as them.
And the rest of the detachment doesn't lose the culture that they've chosen.
Trucks, we've gone into trucks. Let's go back a bit into see if that's moved. So HQs, we've gone over. Weird boys, we've got the boys. We've got the Gretchens, which are actually having a cool rule where we'll go into that at the back. We'll go into the Gretchens later on. Ranthed, Burner Boys, all mostly stayed the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
Couple of rules here and there. Tank Busters, which we've actually used now. Rocket launchers are so good. Having Daka rule on them. Using the strats where they're hitting on 5s. You've got a unit of 5 or even more hitting on 5s. That's an extra hit with them. Still strength 8, -2, damage 3. The damage 3 is really good. Flat. I prefer damage 3 than a D6.
Absolutely.
So, and again, put them in an open-topped battle wagon.
Make them bad moons, reroll 1s, why not?
Exactly.
Throw it all in there.
It all gets good. So, they
do like bad moons.
Yeah. So, knobs.
Knobs again. Your Killia boys pretty much effectively. Mega knobs, you're more
Mega knobs, they're the same, gone down in price a bit.
Let's see. What else have we got here? We've got the War Bikers again.
War Bikers, really good units. They're good.
I do think we're going to see a lot of War Bikers.
There's a stratagem, which we're going to a bit into the stratagems at the end, but there's a stratagem which is called Exhaust. What is it called? Fumes or something? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Anyway, they give any unit a -1, so it's the same as the Elder Strat. What's it called? Lightning reflexes on both the Harlequins, and they give a -1, which is makes them quite resilient as well.
It is a bit different though, whereas with the Elder one, you've got to declare it when you're nominated as a target.
Yeah, this is at the beginning of the phase.
Yeah, you've got to do it during your movement phase, if I'm not mistaken. So you've already shown your opponent which unit you want to protect, so they can always just shoot a different one, but still good to have nevertheless.
So some of the new buggies. So we
Shock
just
jump
used the
dragster.
shock jump jump is so good.
I love it.
So good. I think
Love
it's
it.
100 points, I think, or something like that. But they're so good. So we've got the shock tunnel. So when advancing, you roll a 4+. If you roll more higher than a 4+, it just deep strikes basically. All deep strike rules 9 inches from an enemy model. It can't charge or anything, but it's really good when you want to actually move the vehicle to grab an objective or create a bit of pressure onto the enemy models.
It can still charge.
Can it still charge?
It doesn't really say that you can't. I mean, you're classified as advancing, so I suppose if you use that and you combine it with the warlord traits.
Okay, yeah, something like that. Yeah,
That-
that's the only thing you can do. Yeah,
You can,
if it's by itself, you can't. But there's ways of getting it into the sort.
what we've realised is there's a lot of synergy in this book. There's a lot of ways. If you combine this, combine that, combine this, it's not all just like clear cut. Just use a unit for its profile. That's it.
That's what it
You've
does.
got a lot of options.
Yeah.
To like
Help units out.
absolutely. Yeah. But then even this the custom shock rifle from it, Assault 2, it's basically a strength 8 las cannon.
It's a crack missile.
Yeah, minus
Crack
3.
missile,
Yeah,
yeah.
a crack missile at minus 3. But on top of it, if you roll a 6 up for wounding, it doesn't mortal wound. But then again, you've got Grot Gunner and Targeting Squig, which adds to the hit rolls. So now all of a sudden you're hitting this on 3s.
It's good.
Like, and it's assault weapon. So you got Evil Sons. You advance. It still doesn't matter that you advance. You're still hitting on 3s.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome that. You got the custom booster blasters. That's the other buggy there.
Yeah, that's good. You've probably seen most of this.
Yeah.
On the community pages anyway. So.
Mega Direct Scrap Chest.
Yeah.
I mean, they have this ability as well. Does this one? Do they have it yet? Spikes Ram. Custom booster Spikes Ram. So when you assault, we launch a charge rather than a 4, it does D3 mortal wounds. Also another strat that on a 2 up you do an additional D3 wounds, D3 mortal wounds. So
total
potential
D6.
there
For 2
for
D3.
6 mortal wounds, just charging a 100 point unit or whatever it is. That's a nice little thing to have. Anything else? Storm Boys as well.
Mech guns. Let's talk about a bit
gosh.
about mech guns. They are so good. So I think okay, so we're gonna go straight into the weapon that we like the most. So tractor cannon. So these things here. 45 points.
45 points.
45 points. Okay, so the crew that we had before counts as 1 unit. So there's no old rules where if you're shooting the crew
is closer, then you could
they
target
die
them
and they don't have to have a 1 model beside for it to shoot. They all act as 1 unit. So basically it's just there for purposes of visual purposes.
Yeah, because
really.
they don't have an attacks profile.
Yeah.
They don't have a weapon to shoot.
Exactly.
There's literally no point to put them
Okay.
down. They
So-
do nothing.
Where does it get good? Where does it get amazing, actually? So, 48-inch range, heavy 1, strength 8, minus 2d6. So, crack missiles. Now it's when it crits.
No, that's a crap missile.
Okay, so, when it gets even better. So, 45 points for 1 shots. Okay, hitting on 4s, 45 points.
Well, hitting on 4s.
Hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1s if you are...
No.
well,
You're not hitting on 4s.
You're not hitting on 4s. This is where it gets
the
good.
beauty of this.
So, this weapon automatically hits its target.
You got a range
Automatically hits the target.
a range 48 crack missile flamer.
Okay? Which automatically hits the target. It's crazy. It gets even better. So, if the target is an enemy vehicle unit that can fly, so there's a lot of flying things, especially in the big meta, the high meta where there's a lot of Elder stuff, Dark Elder stuff, Drukhari stuff, Harlequins, flyers, So,
hello Hemlocks.
roll 2 dice when inflicting damage with this weapon and discard the lowest results. So it's like Melter. You're talking about an automatically hitting 48-inch range Melter. Gets even better than this. 45 points. So, if a vehicle unit that can fly is destroyed by this weapon, the model automatically crashes or burns or its equivalent. So anything when the vehicle blows up, you don't roll to see if it blows up on a 6. It automatically blows up. So if you're getting first turn, you're in range. You're most likely being in range. If there's things that can fly around it, just shoot a couple of these things, there's a big chance of it blowing up when you're rolling 2d6 and the d6 damage. It's okay. So there's a possibility of, for each one, there's a possibility of it doing 6 damage, much higher than anything else. If you're blowing things up, these things are blowing up and doing extra mortal wounds for anything around it for 45 points. So I'm not even going to say I bet you. These things will be everywhere.
The thing is, you've got one, up to 5 standing alongside it. So you've effectively 6, isn't it? You can include 5
exactly. Yeah, so
6 for one choice. So you're not like you don't have to use up all your heavy supports. You just take 6 of these.
So 270 points for 6.
They all act independently once you deploy them, I believe.
Okay, the resistance isn't that good, they're 5 plus save, 5 plus save, 6 wounds.
Toughness 5. Okay. They'll go down.
If you get to shoot, but remember this, that these things will be in the back lines. You've got bikes going forward, you've got the new buggies going forward, you've got 100 boys going forward. So you have to target prioritize. Yeah. What do you go for? The things that are going to assault you next turn, or the things that are actually shooting. It's a tough decisions. And when you're using 45-point model, it's like, I'll lose a 45. Yeah. You probably have like 6 more guns beside it. So
it's just like 6 boys really equivalent.
Whatever. So they are amazing. That's one of the things that really, really popped out.
It's horrific. Yeah. It's horrific as well.
So battle wagons, we've gone through it.
Gun wagon. I don't like gun wagons, to be honest. I think
then there's the bone breaker, which is the big truck with the rolling death roll at the front. Killer Khans, Death Dreads, they've stayed more or less the same. We're going into the stratagems now for the grots. So I mentioned the grots have something special. So this is the grot shield stratagem for 1 command point.
Right, so I'll read it out to you. So this uses stratagem after an infantry unit from your army, excluding units comprised entirely of Gretchen models, has been hit by a ranged weapon. Until the end of the phase, you can roll a d6 each time a model from that unit loses a wound if there's a friendly unit comprised entirely of Gretchen infantry models within 6 inches of it, and the Gretchen unit is closer to the attack model than the target. On a 2-up, the original model does not lose that wound, but one model in that Gretchen unit, your choice, is slain. Otherwise, the model loses the wound as normal. So all of a sudden, now...
You've got an extra shield for your boys.
You've got a meat shield.
For peanuts.
3 points a model.
Yeah, it's like... You basically don't even mind if they shoot. You don't even mind if they get into combat. They're there for your boys or anything else, really, to have a bit more survivability for 1 command point.
So you get 30 of them. You got 90 points there. Get 2 big massive blobs of 30 boys running behind them. Use them to shield them both. It's like, you want to shoot the Gretchens? Go ahead, shoot the Gretchens. They're useless to me, kind of like almost effectively. Or shoot the boys. No, you're going to be hitting the Gretchens instead in 2-ups.
Which is pretty good. So is there anything else that you've actually...
You got your mob up rule, so if there's 2 units, identical units, one's below 10, one's above 10, they can join to.
That's another 1 command point. So
that's just cool. 1 command point. So, if you're playing kill points, for instance, all of a sudden, like you've got 2 units have just turned into 1.
Yeah. So we just played the No Mercy game actually. Yeah. And it was quite. The Orks were doing really, really well, but it was quite painful because you have so many units on the table, and when you're losing them very, very quickly. A game like No Mercy is very difficult for the Orks.
You got the Snag the Grapple as well, 1 command point only. Death Killer War Trike model from your army falls back in the movement phase. Select an enemy unit within 1 inches, roll a d6 and 2 up, you suffer d3 mortal wounds. Just a little bit extra
as we mentioned before, so the Mordaka is actually 2 command points. I think I mentioned it was 1. It's 2, so this is the one that when you're in the shooting phase, Daka for 1 unit becomes on 5s and 6s instead of just 6s.
Which when you're talking looters, flash gates or anything like that, it's amazing. Just crazy. Even 30 boys to be honest.
Buckets of dice is actually a thing. It was a thing before.
30 shooty boys.
Exactly.
It's just it's evil. Some of the stuff here is absolutely evil. Well, you got the Evil Sons one, but I don't really find that much of a point for the Evil Sons one. The Evil Sons one allows you, it's called Drive-By Crumping. Use a stratagem at the end of your shooting phase, select an Evil Sons speed freaks from your army that units can immediately make a move as if it were your movement phase, but can't charge this turn. I mean, you've got the movement anyway. I suppose if you want to flank someone, send someone off, complete opposite direction, capture an objective.
Yeah.
Got to use only one command points there. The Goths one is pretty good from my memory. Use the stratagem before the battle. Select a Goth boys unit, excluding Ard boys, from your army. That unit gains a Scarboys keyword, and the strength characteristics of models in that unit is changed to 5. That unit can only use the mop-up rules stratagem to merge with other units of Scarboys. So you're talking again 30 boys,
Yeah.
right? Who, with the Goth special rule exploding the close combat attacks and 6s, they're now all of a sudden all strength 5.
Strength 5.
So you got like
Wounded on 3s mostly against any other infantry.
it's amazing. And then again coupled with spells and all that, it's gain extra attacks. It's pretty disgusting.
That's about it.
You got your blood axes. Well, you got one here. I've noticed this. So you got your teleporter, so you can pick set up a unit, an orc unit from your army with a power rating of 20 or less on a teleporter pad instead of placing in the battlefield, and then basically you can deep strike them in. You can put them in a transport and do it with a transport, if I'm not mistaken. Then as well, if you go blood axes, you've effectively got that again. So you've got the same strat twice.
Yeah.
So you can get 2 big blobs, or in fact with the blood axes, it's 1 command point if it's 8 or less power level, or 2 command points if it's 9 or more. But still, just deep. There has to be infantry though for them for that one. But still, big blobs of guys just in front of your face. Turn 1, everything moving up across the field. That's the thing. You've got a lot here that can give a lot of pressure instantly the moment the game starts. If your orc opponent or your orc player, if you've got first turn, you're right up in their grill straight away.
Yeah.
If I'm playing against orcs, I'll be scared not to have turn 1. Because
Exactly.
It's savage.
Yeah.
Absolutely savage.
So that's about it. We've gone through it. We've got some. We can go into.
Let's talk
talk
spells
about
as well. You got the headbanger, which was the same as before. Which lucky try. You can try and snipe out a character with 5 wounds or less if they're closest.
Yeah.
On the toughness, beat the toughness roll. Where are we here? So the Warpath. Warp charge 7. If manifested, selects a friendly orc unit within 18 inches of the psycho, increase that unit's attacks characteristics by 1. So there again, you stack it with a big blob, crazy amount of attacks.
Yep.
Where's it?
And it's
the crunch.
Only warp charge 7, which is
the crunch here, right?
That one's good.
Warp charge value of 8. Right. If manifested, select an enemy unit within 18 inches of psycho. Roll a d6 for each model in that unit. For each roll of 6, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Right. Then after doing this, you roll 2d6, and on a 10 or more, you do it all over again.
Remember, you can re-roll these with command points.
We want to re-roll 1 to 2d6 if
exactly, that's what I mean.
If you got that 6 on one of them and
might as well.
1, 2, 3 in the other, you go 50% chance, get it off, strike it off again. You got. I do like that one. I do like them quite a lot. Roll of Mork as well. Warp charge of 8. Subtract 1 from each characteristics units within 18 inches. So not bad again. I mean, you got to be causing a lot of wounds with all this shooting, all this close combat, I reckon. So a little bonus here and there. Where are we? Relics.
Shiny Gubbinz.
Shiny Gubbinz.
So one that popped out was the Killer Claw. So the Killer Claw. Times 2 strength, minus 3, damage 3. So when you're giving this to a war boss with 5 attacks, possible 15 damage outs, and you re-roll 2 wound as well with it. So it's pretty good. And there's no minus to hit either on it.
At all, no. No. So again, combine that with your character, your new character Trike guy, and he's got 5 attacks. Do there's a strat, if I'm not mistaken. Is it a strat or is it a spell that adds 2 to your strength and attacks? Was it a strat or a spell? I can't remember. One or the other. I do remember reading something like that there.
One or the other anyway. So
I know it's a warlord trait. That was it. Warlord trait.
Just
And all of a sudden you got 7 attacks with a power claw doing flat 3 damage, no minus to hit. Strength 14. Re-rolling to wound if you needed it.
Yeah.
Right. It's pretty savage. It's pretty savage, some of this stuff. Other than that, I mean,
Yeah, we've got the specific ones again, so a couple of the normal relics, and then we've got a couple of the culture relics as well here and there.
Yeah, the Blood Axes one allows you to have extra warlord traits, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, second warlord
Yeah,
traits.
2 warlord traits instead. Cool. And the warlord traits are quite good as well.
Yeah, they're not bad.
So-
They're not bad at all.
So that's about it. So we've gone through the stuff more or less, everything that's popped out to us, and everything that we feel is good. From what we've seen, we've only had the Codex a couple of days, and we've only play tested it a couple of times anyway. But I think we'll be seeing a lot more of different variants of armies, and everything's got much faster as well. I think we'll see a lot like Julian says. I wouldn't want to have second turn against Orks. They've got faster. They've got really good stratagems. The shooting got much better as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everybody was like, hey, yeah, they hit on 5s and 6s. Yeah. But now they're hitting more times than what they normally were.
Before against the Laytalk or Raven Guard and things like that, they'd auto miss.
Yeah.
Unless you got Gretchens and they'd be hitting on 6s. Like
Yeah.
they'd auto miss, so like they missed out practically on an entire phase of being able to do anything. Now it's like, I'm still go for that 6. I get a 6. I still get another chance to get another hit in there.
Exactly.
Like it is very good. It is very good, and there's a way to buff that up again. Bad wounds for one. Flash gets hitting on 4s. Open top battle wagons again to have no penalties.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be seeing more lists in especially in competitive play, where we just saw the same list of 120 plus boys. I'm sure we will see different variants of lists in competitive play, as well as like normal day-to-day play.
I'd love to see someone do a good freebooters list with that kill a unit within 24 inches, get +1 to all your attacks, because that, if played well, I think can be really devastating. I think.
Yeah. So guys, hope you enjoyed our first review. A special thanks to Games Workshop for giving us the pleasure of reviewing the new Orks Codex. And if you want to know anything else about SN Battle Reports, please join us at snbattlereports.com, where we have unit reviews, we have battle reports, and all information about our latest events. Thank you for joining us. See you soon.